So today we're going to be looking at the best players that are cheap and are in each position. So we've gone for 3 players per position, and obviously we're starting with the goalkeepers. Now, when it comes to goalkeepers, you know what I'm like. I don't really kind of go too heavy into them because realistically, most people end up with one of the best goalkeepers in the game within the first couple of weeks. It's pretty standard to know that goalkeepers are probably the cheapest position you'll buy, other than maybe, I could say, maybe a Buffon at the very start of the game. Of course he's going to be expensive. If you was to look through most of these goalies, to be honest, after the first week, I can imagine Courtois, Alisson, Ederson, Donnarumma, maybe Buffon already, anyone like Van der Sar, obviously Casillas as well, and many others like Mignan, Kobel, Martinez. They're all going to be available very quickly. So as much as, yes, Onana being 83 rated, he's going to be quite cheap, even with the Prem tax, which all of these are, because why not? They are going to be at least affordable for the masses, and it's why I will do a video on the best players per position, because clearly we know what's going to be very good for positions, especially goalkeepers. Goalkeepers are the easiest ones to know. Most years, it's always the same. It's normally tall goalkeepers and any goalkeeper that's been good in the past. It's literally, there's no meta change for all of them. The only difference with these goalkeepers is apparently we are going to get the playstyle pluses. Now, nobody knows anything about that, so that's going to be a whole new territory, but I can imagine it should be pretty much self-explanatory for them. If you're looking for FC25 coins, Loot Bar have started their first subscription service. You can go onto their website and subscribe for FC25 coins, and with this you'll be sent an email that gives you an extra 5% off on your very first order. This is in addition to the 8% off coupon that is available on your one order to start with. Then from there, you have got Loot Bar being one of the cheapest in FC24 and then continuing to be one of the cheapest on the market for FC25. So with all that said and done, subscribe to Loot Bar now and enjoy 5% off discount when we get into FC25. Now, when it comes to centre-backs, I've got a few decent options here. Obviously, we've gone for the 4 options, double pairing, because again, we're going to be looking at the likes of a Virgil van Dijk as the number 1. But when it comes to the cheaper options, I think Van de Ven's pace is going to put him at a massive advantage here. Now, again, when you say cheap, I'm talking like Van de Ven, more than likely, 10k extinct. You will be able to buy him because you will be able to snipe him. It's not as if there's going to be bots left, right and centre. You could always get them, and 10k in the grand scheme of things is not expensive. When you're looking at Virgil van Dijk, who's going to be hundreds upon hundreds of K, in comparison to maybe have an extinct Van de Ven, maybe a Kanji's like 12 to 15,000. Even then, I don't think he'll be that crazy. They are going to be solid centre-backs that you could go for. Now, obviously, a lot of us are going to go for your Rudigers, your Van Dijks, Saliba with the big upgrade. Then you're looking at maybe like a Marquinhos very early on, Gabriel. Not as much. It's going to be predominantly pace, defend and physical you will have a look at first. Then it's the play style pluses, and then it's just how tall and naturally all of the other abilities as well. I think as a cheap option, Konate, Upamecano, Akanji and Van de Ven would have my votes. Van de Ven definitely, and the big thing across these cheaper players is the fact that we are apparently getting a lot more evolutions. So that's going to be very interesting to see how do they do it? Are they giving us just loads of evolutions because they've got to get a mix of us wanting to open packs and evolving players so they are very relevant. So it's going to be an interesting mix. I can imagine it should be very similar to what we had at the end of last year, where we had like maybe 1 or 2 free ones a week, 1 or 2 paid ones, and that's kind of how we kind of roll with it. They may not always be fully meta relevant, but they definitely are increasing a team, and maybe even just getting an extra Spurs players into your locker if you are trying to build a past and present Spurs team, maybe a Switzerland team. That's going to be where you kind of put them evolutions in, and they're more focused around the lower rated players and the more current players as well, because I guarantee they're not giving us a Van de Ven within the first month. Otherwise it just puts a whole dampen on why do we need to upgrade anybody yet then. Fullbacks looking fresh this year as well. We have got some very good top end ones, but I must admit these are some of the better ones we've seen. Loriente I think could be one in there as well, but I must admit I'm liking the look of these. We've got Nuno Mendes as our left back with Undogi and Balde from Barcelona. Very quick, Very affordable, very nice. On the right hand side, we've gone with a little bit less of the pace side of stuff, but more defensive ability with Pedro Porro, Delo, and also Di Lorenzo. Thinking in the fact that maybe Balde, Di Lorenzo could potentially be nice evolution candidates, whether they go crazy on a position per evolution maybe, or if they go and do something like that, the right back and left back could be in for the shout with them. Now obviously everybody's looking at a Teo Hernandez, they're looking at a Frimpong, they're going to be the more expensive ones that are probably be sitting around the 40 to 70,000 K mark. At this point I can't imagine any of these to be extinct at 10k. Maybe Nuno Mendes might be like 5, 6, 7, but I really can't see him being over that really, and most of the time anybody 83 and below doesn't have a market above 10k. Other than maybe like Furlan Mendy, but that's years of data with him that we know full well he is that expensive to start with. Now the midfield, a little bit more tricky to be honest. I've tried to gone for 3 DMs, 3 box-to-boxes and 3 cams. Now the cam position is definitely being taken out slightly. There's kind of very much more of a box-to-box DM role rather than necessarily a cam. A cam is almost like a left wing or a striker at times, whereas I think the ones that I've chosen are pretty decent enough. Maddison going for more of the technical ability side, maybe not so much the pace, but again could be an evolution candidate for a bit of pace. And also what they have said with evolutions is the fact that it's not necessarily a full overall upgrade, it could just be a stat upgrade, which I think would make it a lot better. So for instance with Maddison, we put him in an evolution, keeps him 85 still, but it gives him 78 pace rather than 71. Doesn't touch anything else. I think it's almost like if most people probably have not remembered this, but in FIFA 09 you could add, well, FIFA 09 Ultimate Team, which was the very first Ultimate Team, we had the ability to upgrade everybody to 99. It wasn't an evolution, it was a training stat. You could either have all stats, you could have shooting, and basically the whole point was you upgrade them to get to the 99, even from bronze. That could be what evolution does on a slightly less scale, where they do upgrade minute stats. Maybe max is 85 overall, 71 or 72 paces max, and it just gets it up by a +5. Doesn't really affect the card massively, keeps them at the same overall, so you're not necessarily creating a lot of 91 and 92 pluses before the time is ready, but it gives you that little extra boost, which could make a card from at least kind of non-usable at all to at least semi-usable. So I think for him, he's got a good shot. We have Nkunku, who's going to be flexing between that cam and centre forward, has the ability to go forward and shoot, but most definitely has a bit more pace and a bit more about him to keep going forward. And I think Szoboszlai, 4-star, 4-star, very balanced across the board when it comes to a cam, 81 rated, perfect for an evolution and great for a Premier League starter squad. Whereas then we look at the midfield, I really like this kind of trio. Even though we've got Vitinha maybe coming in a little bit more expensive, I do think he's going to be a vital role if you are looking at that Nuno Mendes and looking at the Liga and the PSG. He's going to be a fantastic unit to put in the middle, and I think this year we are going to see a lot more from him in the special variety. Whereas De Paul and Goretzka, tried and tested. We absolutely love them. De Paul's Team of the Season card, or his 98, his Festival of Foot card, was incredible, and it just highlights truly how balanced he is across the board. We saw it with someone like why can't I think of the Uruguayan's name? Valverde, I knew I'd get there. Valverde, how he is so kind of balanced, but then has just a magnificent amount of pace. De Paul's kind of the opposite. He is balanced, maybe not with the same amount of pace, but the balance side of it is absolutely spot on. Love him. Goretzka, on the other hand, they really have downgraded a lot of pace this time round. And I think that's the big thing that everybody's kind of making note, is that even though like Goretzka, for instance, was an 85, they've took down quite a lot. The pace seems to be the big thing. So it's going to be interesting to see that ramp up really quickly. And that's where the starter teams are just starter. This is not for a month, 2 month, 3 month squad. This is like day 1, day 2, maybe even week 1, if you're not necessarily opening up a crazy amount of packs, that we absolutely slap it out and we get online and get testing. CDMs, we've gone for the links of Caicedo, Lema and Benessa. I think Caicedo just as the Prem could be a nice option, but I do think Benessa and Lema are always very, very good in that role. Very heavy on the defence. They have that ability to push forward. Obviously, Lema's the one with the playstyle plus so far, but again, evolutions could take care of that. And I think when they come as a DM, it's not a bad option, but interest in midfield, I think there is plenty that you can go with. This isn't the only 3 of each position as well. There is plenty that you can go for that we will have a look in the first kind of week getting into the game. Now looking into the wings then. So obviously you can see Rashford and Yamal. Thinking about Ferland Mendy, I think Yamal, even though he's kind of an 81 rated, and same with Rashford, I can imagine they will be a little bit more expensive, but what I am thinking with both of these is the evolution capability right from the bat is going to be crazy. So if you could put any amount of money into a card, these two could be fantastic with it. I think Yamal definitely, he's obviously had the hype of winning this, the Euros. He's naturally just balling out in Barcelona. He's going to be one that is absolutely there. Same as Endrick, he will be another one that everybody is looking for in terms of an evolution. Whether we see many informs, many out of performance based special cards, that will be totally down to EA. But I do think looking at these two, they are the best to try and get into that evolution straight away. Gordon would be more my kind of cheap Prem baller, very good pace, shooting wise could do with a bit of work, but a Hunter will absolutely sort it, and naturally he's going to be balling in the game. And then same as Diaz. Diaz would be just that one step up as you do like a tier kind of thing, so it'd be like Gordon, Diaz, Rashford, and Rashford is purely based on the fact it's Rashford. He's going to have the evolutions, he's got the pace already, and he's got the shooting as well, and he's low rated as well, which is just crazy. It's weird to see again. Right hand side, Doku, not really been talked about too much to be honest. He has got the Rapid Plus, which is absolutely in everybody's books. I can imagine to be not necessarily as expensive as I kind of first imagined. I think the hype of him has kind of died down a little bit, but adding the extra playstyle plus onto him in a future evolution, an extra chemistry style for the shooting, he could definitely turn out to be a very cheap and affordable player. And Pulisic, I don't know what they've done to him, but fantastic. 88 on the pace, he's got a decent amount of shooting, great dribbling, 83 rated and can flex between both positions. He's again one that you're going to not take note of, but he is worth looking at the absolute minimum. And then finally we got the strikers. We've got so many decent ones. I've kind of picked my favourite 4 at this point. Kolo Muani being 82 with that amount of pace, he's going to be another one to go in. I don't know or don't think we will get another Founders evolution. I can't imagine them to do that, but we definitely will get like a starting striker evolution like we did the first year, and Kolo Muani has got his name written all over that. He more than likely will be a 10k kind of max price. Same with someone like Nunez. They're going to be there. It's just naturally always going to be, but he is absolutely worth looking at the absolute minimum. Alvarez being 84, being in La Liga now, he's going to lose out on that Prem tax, which is going to be massive for him because he's another one. With a Hunter, you're adding what, 90 plus pace, 88, 89 shooting potential, press proven, so obviously the playstyle plus is semi-decent, but it's not quite what we want. But he again is going to be a nice, cheap and affordable option if you really want. Watkins will be that step up in the Prem. Might not be the cheapest, but he most definitely won't be like, for instance, you've got the Haaland at the absolute top, you've got Sonny Baby, you maybe even have someone like a Xerxes or something kind of just chilling with a bit more of a price on him purely on the cheap matter of him, but he's going to come in at that middle price before you can afford Haaland, but more expensive than the kind of bare minimum in this. So if you do go over to Futbin, also Futbin do have every player now, so they've got the full database on lock, which is absolutely fantastic. So if it was to look at it like, yeah, you got Haaland, Son, Isaac, potentially even Jota's going to be more expensive. Chiesa definitely will be as a right wing, but he's going to be just above like the likes of Nkunku, Gakpo, Havertz definitely. Nunez would be more than likely a 10k extinct, and he'll just be in the float between them. We normally find it, and then normally that's kind of like a cane roll or something, or previously there's been other 85s that have sit in that position or sat in that position that are the cheap ones to get, but it's only because they're cheaper than obviously going for the top ones. And that's going to be everybody so far. Let me know down below if you've got a player in mind that you want to get, and hopefully we get there soon. There's 5 days left. Catch you over the next one. Peace.